On the latest push for action on climate change, let's go to David Waskow. He directs the International Climate Initiative at the World Resources Institute. Thank you so much for joining us, David. First of all, how do you think this agreement between the U.S. and China will help in the global fight against climate change? After all, we're talking about the biggest carbon emitters in the world.
Well, this is a really positive indication that these two countries understand that they have to work together, that they have to engage with one another to tackle the climate crisis. As you said, they're the two largest emitters. They're also the two largest economies in the world. And so this is a very important step from them that they are going to tackle this in an aligned way. There are a lot of economic benefits on both sides. Both countries will benefit from moving into the 21st century economy that we're seeing, that's going to ultimately be a zero carbon economy when you look at renewables, when you look at electric vehicles and many other aspects of the economy. So aligning this way really makes a lot of sense, though there are some concrete steps that really need to be taken by both.
What are those steps in particular?
So one is, as your report just mentioned, the U.S. Is going to unveil its targets for 2030, its new targets under the Paris Agreement this week at the summit that will take place on April 22nd and 23rd. And there has been quite a push for the U.S. to adopt a target that would be a 50% reduction in emissions. There were 300 businesses last week with revenues more than $3 trillion annually that called on the Biden administration to do exactly that, to take that 50% cut. And China also, meanwhile, needs to move. As with the United States, China has a net zero commitment of emissions by before 2060. And the question now is getting on track for that net zero point. This isn't something that happens overnight. You have to move, and you have to move assertively. And so China needs to start ramping down its coal. It needs to start addressing issues like its methane emissions, which are currently not addressed in its 2030 targets at all. And there are opportunities economically, as I said, for China. This is an arena in which China can make steady progress economically.
And this agreement is a good lead up to the climate summit this week. What should we expect from that, do you think?
Well, this is a milestone on the way to the major summit at the end of the year, COP26, that will be taking place in Glasgow in November. This is an important step. We're going to see some countries come forward with some new targets. Japan and Canada, for example. We're likely to see some countries indicate that they're going to stop financing coal projects internationally. For example, we may see that from South Korea. And I think that is one of the questions on the table for the U.S. and China. This was part of the statement that they put out yesterday, that they are both going to seek to pursue financing directions that will start to ramp down the harmful fossil fuel projects around the world, and will really ramp up what needs to be done around the world in countries everywhere in terms of renewables, in terms of sustainable transport, and protecting forests as well.